Hi, my name is Mel. I'm going to briefly go through what it's like living with autism spectrum disorder and what it's also like living with developmental issues and learning difficulties. Okay, so I have autism spectrum disorder, which is why I'm sort of strange, awkward, and weird. That's my byline, and why I sort of come off as being a bit off. And it's really, really difficult because I'm going to only speak for myself, but this can be common for a lot of people with autism, is I miss a lot of social cues. I don't, and not really able to read people's body language. And I will say and sometimes do really inappropriate stuff, not because I want to be mean or horrible, because it just doesn't occur to me. And I rely on people to say stop or cool. I find it very difficult to be around a lot of people. I can't tell you exactly why. I'm trying to get better. I'm currently studying a diploma in cybersecurity, have done a Cert 4 in cybersecurity, Cert 3 in IT. I have studied well before that, like in the 80s, and I have worked before in the 90s. I'm trying to get back to work, but I'm a lot older. I'm about 60, and I've got numerous physical and other disabilities. So I rely on the government disability pension, which doesn't get you very far these days. So look, having disabilities is hard because people do judge you, especially if you come off as a little bit as awkward or strange, which I do. I know that. I'm not always able to control or understand my volume of my voice. So I rely on people to say, hey, being too loud or slow your speech down. I speak very monotonely. It's just because I don't know how to speak any other way. Um, and a lot of the difficulties I have too is I don't understand information and things in the same way as other people, right? I do, at top of autism, I have a lot of learning disabilities and developmental delays. So that's difficult. Like, I have a lot of trouble with maths. Directions, I can't really tell the difference between left and right. I'm not so good at obviously speaking and dealing with people, but like I like to be friendly and be with people, but like sometimes it can come across as being socially inappropriate, even though I wouldn't hurt anyone. I think I tend to try and be over friendly or over the top, and that's very difficult to deal with because look, I think we all try and be as good a people as we obviously can, but sometimes, and I definitely do not mean to, I hurt people. And sometimes I'm not always the best person, and I try to be good, but like I think because I don't always, I do have emotions, and I can definitely understand and have empathy of other people's emotions, but I might not always catch when is the appropriate time for something to happen or not happen, or when is the appropriate time for something to be said or not said, and what should I say? And that's really hard to deal with, and for me and for other people. And look, obviously, you can tell I'm very unwell, also physically and mentally. I have a physical disability now, I've got lower back damage, I've got severe mental health issues. I'm older now. I'm obviously, not skinny. I'm also gender fluid, so that comes into a lot of it. But I think it is really hard, and I would just encourage all of us to try and. So, look, if somebody is. You need to be compassionate, and I try to be compassionate to others. So, if I say and do something that's not right, I need people just to explain to me why. Because, look, I haven't seen it, and that might make me seem dumb or silly. It's just I haven't seen it and I haven't thought about it. And it doesn't mean I don't care about how others feel or care about their safety or anything like that. It just means that sometimes, like, my brain's full of noise from the environment. I'm not catching everything else. And look, it's really difficult because I will overshare information that's not always best overshared. And like, it's not because I want to put people off, but I think it's it's just because you don't even understand. And like, look, it's hard because look, as well as I've got symptoms of ADHD, so I get hyperactive, I fail to concentrate at times, I get very, I call it fritzy, sort of all over the place, but I also can get obsessive compulsive disorder. I also have, because of my physical issues and a lot of mental health issues, which are severe, have a lot of issues like, but not, and, like being able to clean up after myself and self care and sometimes all of that. And look, I don't get any help. I get the government disability pension. I don't get NDIS. I can't get a job, even though I think I could work part time, and because I've worked before in industry, and I think I'd have a lot to offer. But being 60 and not having worked for quite a long time because I was a carer is makes it very difficult. And I mean, like, as I said, living off disability, there's not a lot you can do. Um, and look, I just wanted to say, look, I know that, and it makes me incredibly sad. I've hurt people. I've hurt people that I love. I'm not happy about this. I'm not proud of it, and it's not something I ever wanted to happen. I've hurt people I love dearly, and that, and I've tried to be better, one, for myself, because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person who is going around, making others feel bad or horrible about themselves or whatever. And also, too, I want to have good interactions with people. I want to try and contribute to be a better change in the world. So I'm working on it. I'm with a therapist. I'm also getting social skills training. But look, to everybody who I have ever hurt, look, I am so sorry. I know it's not good enough. I know that. I don't expect people to forgive me. All I'm saying is, look, it was never out of malice, and it's never, out of wanting to do bad things. It's just inability sometimes to see any other, I guess, option. I don't know how to put it. Inability to know better, maybe. I'm not sure. And look, so I am working through a lot of stuff, and I'm wanting to improve myself for myself. Because look, I think the world is a dark and scary place at the moment. It really is, especially for people who are gender fluid like myself, or have disabilities like myself, or for anyone really. The world is scary. There's a rise of authoritarianism, there's a rise of right wing hate, there's a rise of, like, obviously, like war and oppression and horrible, stuff going on to a lot of different people. And I think we need to sort of, the ones that want to sort of help the world be better, reduce the massive wealth inequality, help people who are poor and homeless and dying from disease and starving, help people who are in war, who are being oppressed. I think we need to start making actions together to help where we can help, to do what we can do. And like, I'm hoping that talking about my autism and my struggles, and I'll talk about what it's like dealing with depression as well in other videos, I'm hoping that this raises a bit of awareness for people. And like, I can't tell you what life's like without autism because I've had it all my life. I've always had a lot of, I get very stressed very easily. I burst into tears. I can get very emotional or find it very difficult to cope with very basic situations. And I just feel like I can't cope. I can't do things. Feel like a huge failure a lot of the time. And like, I think people around me find it very wearing. And, because I have huge amounts of anxiety and huge amounts of depression. And I've never been very good at dealing with that. I'm still not, even despite like being on medication, receiving all the mental help in the world. I'm still not great, and I don't know if I ever will be good at dealing with that. I mean, I am trying, but I understand that being around me can be extremely difficult and trying for people. And so, look, I definitely am trying to, because I don't want to be stressing other people out. I don't want my difficulties to be affecting others, but that's really difficult when you lack coping skills and lack skills to deal with anxiety and stress. When life just feels overwhelming all the time, it's very difficult. I'm not saying this woe is me sort of thing here. I'm just sort of saying is, look, if you're neurotypical and you don't suffer from massive anxiety or stress, then good for you. But I'm not that. And like, I wish I could be more like you. I really do. I just think, look, I'm trying to now be for myself a lot more tolerant and accepting of others. Like, I am an atheist, but now I'm trying to be a lot more tolerant and understanding of religious people. Because not everybody who's religious or atheist are the same, right? There's a lot of really good religious people, a lot of really good atheist people. There are some bad religious people and some bad atheist people. I'm sort of on anybody's side of people who are progressive, who support LGBTQIA plus rights, support women's rights, support disability rights, support having free housing, free healthcare, free education, access to services, access to free electricity, like cheaper food, like reduced wealth inequality. I'm a fan of anyone who's more far left of centre, like progressive, socialist, democratic socialism. I'm a fan of anybody who does that. I care what you believe, I care what you do. And that's so, look, I'm trying to be a lot more understanding of people. But look, I am sick to death of bigotry in terms of racism or bigotry towards LGBTQIA plus people. I understand that people find it difficult if you've been brought up or you've got values. But, us people who are trans or gay or whatever, we're born like that. We're not doing it to piss you off. So you need to just accept us for who we are. We're not going to be able to change that. I can't change the fact I'm autistic or the fact that I'm gender fluid. There's nothing that's going to change that. Okay, so I think I'm trying to accept, I'm not going to be tolerant of intolerance. I'm trying to accept people for where they are and help them for where they are. And look, I understand that people can struggle, and I'm trying to be more understanding of that. But this is me. Thank you.